Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Let's Talk Morning Show with me, John, and Dennis. And it's the weekly show where Dennis and I get together and pretty much answer all of your questions. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning, John. How's it going over there?
It's going pretty well, It's hot as molasses, but it's,
I'll tell you, man, as soon as it gets this hot, I feel like I am always sweating.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Even the air conditioners are having a hard time. Like I'm trying to keep the house at 64, and it's only like 75.
Yeah, dude, it's cooking. I actually have a fan on the other side of the screen right now blowing straight on me just to keep me cool.
I don't blame you. Does it have the strings coming off it?
I wish it did. It'd probably be a lot cooler.
It would be. And Haunted Pillowcase, no Taco Bell this morning. He wants us to do Taco Bell breakfast one morning and film it, so we might have to. There's Faith. She doesn't realize that she's blurred out, though.
I can kind of see her. There she is.
Blurred out.
And let's see. Are you going to see Jurassic Park Rebirth in theaters? And yeah, I actually am, unfortunately, going to go see that in theaters against my will. But I have seen every Jurassic Park movie in theaters, and I feel like I have to continue the tradition where I walk in the theaters with excitement and leave with disappointment. So why not?
I mean, tradition's tradition. Whether it's good or bad, you got to keep it going.
Exactly. I refuse to watch Chinatown because of the director, which is fair. I get that. That's because that's in the thumbnail, Chinatown. That was directed by Roman Polanski, who, if you know what happened, you know what happened.
Yeah.
And it did happen. So that's what makes it even worse. When is the big giveaway and how does it work? I'm going to explain more of the giveaway stuff which is going to be on next Tuesday's show after Dennis leaves because, I don't want to waste his time on all the busy work. So after 9 a.m., if you want to come back or just hang around till 9, I'll explain all the giveaway stuff and we'll do all that stuff. Who has the bigger movie collection, John or Dennis? Kylie Tinkle asks. Well, I think I could say I do.
Yeah, I would certainly not even put up a fight. I think that you see the blurry background back there. Maybe a quarter of that shelf is what I have currently. We mentioned it before. I had a rather large collection and lost it. We talked about that last week or the week before. Lost it in a breakup. Everything is gone. So the rebuild is slow and steady.
Yeah, unfortunately that happens. Even wasn't a divorce, but I've seen plenty of men have a breakup or a divorce and they just come out the other side. Got to rebuild. Just rebuild everything.
That's it. So that's where I am. I'm on the rebuild side of things.
I like that. And Mellow Fellow's here, and he says that he's got a fan of you. He's a fan of you from the UK, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Mellow Fellow's the guy we're going to be doing an unboxing today here on the show as well, guys, because he sent me something I want to show off to you guys. And Dennis is very interested in this as well. So we're going to do that in a little while. But we're going to jump right into a question because, we got a bunch of them this week. And this one's from our channel director, Kevin Kruger. As soon as I can add it to the stage. Those are digital codes. Top 10 movies that are significantly better when you go into them blind. So how do you want to start this one?
So I kind of didn't put these in any particular order. The way that I looked at it was there's a lot that could go in here. I don't know if you're talking about twist endings, if you're, because that's how I kind of took it. If the ending shocked me the first time I saw it, it doesn't matter if the movie is rewatchable, because most of these on my list, I will rewatch. Almost all of them I'll rewatch again. It's one of those things where the ending was just so good the first time you saw it that now you know it's coming. So there's excitement leading up to it because you know how good it is, but there's not that wow, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. So that's kind of how I made this list. They're not in any particular order. They're just 10 movies I think that the first time you see them, you're going to be shocked. They're still great to rewatch, but nothing will top the first time.
Yeah, I also took I kind of went with that for most of them. There were some picks that I went into don't go into it with any expectations because this is what's going to happen. The trailer will ruin it if you go into it like this. But yeah, I have a bunch of twist endings. Obviously, knowing it going in will ruin it. Good morning, Mr. Smelly Potato. That's our channel bankroll member. So do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to go with one that I think I actually told you to watch after I watch it, and that is Bone Tomahawk.
Yes, that is a great choice. And you were trying to get me to watch this for years. And I didn't even go into this blind because I had you hyping it up. But you went into this completely blind?
I did. I genuinely I remember, I think this was one of those ones where back when, Walmart had the $5 bins. I was looking through, saw the cover, Kurt Russell was on it, bought the DVD because, I love Kurt Russell, my opinion, greatest actor in the world. So bought it, went in thinking it was just going to be a Western, you know, just a Tombstone kind of old school Western movie. And that's how I went into it. I didn't watch a preview. I didn't even read the description of it. I just went in based solely on it being a Western starring Kurt Russell. And boy, was I shocked.
Yeah, that is a very different movie than what I was expecting. Even though you hyped it up and like kind of told me a little bit, I still didn't know what I was getting into, and it blew me away. Like I don't want to spoil it because obviously it's the kind of movie that I feel like is very underseen, which is weird because it's like a horror western starring Kurt Russell. Like that sells the movie itself. You don't
Yeah.
need to know more than that to go into it.
Yeah, and I just think it's great. I mean, if you like, I think it blends them so perfectly because most of the movie is a West, you know, like I just, again, without getting too much into it, because if you've never seen it, it's 100% one. Don't look up the trailer. Don't read up on it if you haven't already. Just go watch it because, and again, this is another one I'll absolutely rewatch without a problem. I love I think it's a really, really good movie, but the first time, the shock, the surprise, the twist, it just I remember watching it and jaw on the floor at the end, like, wow, that was not what I thought was coming.
No, it does. It's significantly surprising as hell. And even just the earlier scenes, they're shot beautifully. Like the Western town, it's not like it looks almost like a sandy color, the movie, in comparison to like other Westerns where it's like, brown and stuff. This one's like almost like an off-white everything. And I'm like, it makes it feel unique. And and obviously Kurt Russell's getting older and man, he knows how to do a Western so well.
He sure does. He sure does. But yeah, that was my first. What do you got?
My next one is Moon from 2009, from directed by Duncan Jones, who is actually David Bowie's son. Have
Oh,
you ever seen this one?
I actually have not. No.
Now it's a sci-fi movie starring Sam Rockwell and only Sam Rockwell. So he's pretty much the only person in this entire movie, other than a few other people you might see on screen. But it's the future, and we're mining the moon for materials. Essentially, we found a cheaper material, but just this one guy is up there doing all the mining and everything,
Mm.
and he's up there for a few years, and he's at the end of his cycle. And then he crashes the thing right at the end as he's about to leave. And then I'm not going to say anything more than that in case you haven't seen it, but let's just say there's a pretty damn big twist that leads to another big twist. So I'm not going to spoil any more than that because I went into this movie completely blind, having no idea what it was, just knowing that I like Sam Rockwell. I think he's a very underrated actor.
Mm.
And I was like, and they're like, oh, it's his best performance. I'm like, well, I got to see that. And I watched it. I've watched it even a few times. I'll admit, though, once you kind of watch the movie for the first time, rewatches do kind of bring it down a little bit, even though he's great.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the balance on this list, right? Like there are a lot of them where I feel like we said in the beginning, first time you watch it, you're like, wow, this is a great movie. I will rewatch it, but it loses a little bit of that magic because sometimes I agree with you though. You watch a movie and you're like, wow, my God, that was crazy. Watch it the second time and you're like, well, it really was underwhelming. It sounds like that's the case for this one.
Yeah, it's just not, it doesn't work every time because of the twist. There's certain movies that I have another one on my list that do become actually rewatchable, even with the twist, that you can always go back to it. Moon's one I go back to every few years now, which it's a shame because I do love the movie, but you got to kind of forget a little bit of it to enjoy it again.
Yeah. No, I get that. The next one I have on my list, actually, I feel like there's probably nobody in the world who hasn't already seen this, read about it, looked it up, or anything. But I just remember the first time I watched it, it really blew me away, was American Psycho.
Oh, I don't have that on my list, but I have it on another question we'll be talking about later. So that's great. That's actually a good one. That is a good one to go into blind. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know that it's possible at this point, because it's so hyped up. Everyone knows it.
It's
Christian Bale is so
memed.
popular. Yeah, it's memed. There's so much, but if you've never read about it, seen clips of it, or anything, and you can go in blind. I remember the first time that I watched it, it was super shocking. I The ending was like you leave the end of that movie and you're like, what the hell was that? So if you can go in blind, it's a great movie too. But again, as with some of these on my list, I have like two or three other ones that are just they're older and super popular. I don't know that it's possible for someone to even try to go into it blind.
Yeah, some of them are just really, it's almost impossible at some point. American Psycho is definitely one of those films. I agree. Mellifella said, personally, for me, the no so-called spoiler has actually never spoiled a film for me. Yeah, there's times like a movie I've been like, it's not really a spoiler, but everybody has a different line, and that's one thing I've learned on YouTube. There's some people who don't want to know literally anything. I've always said you can probably talk about anything in the first act because you do got to like tell people what the movie's about, like some of it. So you know, some people still consider that a spoiler, though.
Yeah, I think the big thing, and when we were doing this, I was thinking too, like, you could put almost any M. Night Shyamalan movie on here because he's the guy who writes twist endings. So I was thinking about a lot of twist ending movies where, like, if the twist is in the trailer, that to me is a spoiler. I like character development. If you show someone dead and that stuff, that I'm all right with most of that. But if you tell me basically what the big thing we're leading up to is already, then I can't do it.
Yeah, a good example of that is that movie that came out last year. It was a vampire movie, and which spoils the whole movie. But the trailer spoils this whole thing, and I can't remember the name of it. Annabelle? No, it's Annabelle's the doll. But it starts with an A. It was done by the Radio Silence guys, the guys who did Scream 5 and 6, their last movie. I actually think you'd really like it because it's very similar to that and Ready or Not, which they also directed.
Okay.
But the trailer gives away the entire freaking movie, the big twist that in the movie, if you're watching it, wouldn't tell you until about 45 minutes in. Like the movie actually has a mystery of like what it's about, builds it up very well, but the trailer wants you to know what the movie's about to sell it. And I think that's what a lot of modern trailers do. That's why unfortunately I don't watch trailers at all anymore. I try to go into everything blind. That's why this list was kind of hard for me.
Yeah, that's the same. I try to not watch a lot. I go based on, like, I'll read a description. I try not to watch trailers because I think you're right, especially nowadays, like with short form media and all that kind of stuff, how people are just like, they need 10 seconds and that's it. Um, I think trailers just, they give away so much now where it almost does spoil a movie. So I'd just rather not. I'd rather go in. I try to go in as blind as I can, even like if it's on a streaming service, if I'm just, scrolling through Netflix, Hulu, something like that, I will not watch a trailer. If I read the description and it sounds decent, I'll just hit play and see if it's good or not. It's burned me a couple times, but it can be good.
Yeah, it's the risk versus reward factor. You got to have the lows to really appreciate the highs.
Yep.
Good morning, David. What's up, buddy? Glad you're here with us today. What's this? Companion and Strange Darling are good to go in the blind. That's a good one, Mr. Smelly Potato. Have you seen Strange Darling yet?
No, I've seen Companion, not Strange Darling.
Ooh, Companion was good. Strange Darling, he's right. Go into that blind. That movie, it's I love that movie. It's one of my favorite movies of last year. And yes, that was the movie Abigail. I know. So that was what I couldn't remember. A dozen copies of film because they love it. Yeah, it's a great movie. It's just I think if you can go into that without ever seeing the trailer, you actually get the full experience of what the movie wants you to feel. It's a shame that the trailer kind of ruins it.
Yeah, and actually, I was able to go into that one blind because my brother actually watched it, and he asked me if I had seen it, and I was like, "No, I haven't watched it yet." And he said, "Dude, you have." He didn't tell me anything about it. He just said, "Watch it." So thankfully, I was able to go into that one blind, and I agreed. Because after I watched it, I felt like the trailer came up on one of my feeds or something, and I watched the trailer, and it absolutely gives the whole thing away.
Yeah, and it takes the fun out of it. I don't think I think people edit the trailers together who actually don't watch the movie, so they might not even be aware of like what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one on my list, just to piggyback off of what you said about M. Night Shyamalan, I have The Sixth Sense, obviously one of the most famous twists of all time. Did have this spoiled for me, and it doesn't hurt it. It doesn't hurt the movie. This is one where I can rewatch it with knowing the twist. But if you were able to go into this movie blind, it's probably one of the greatest experiences ever.
Yeah, and I think that's not what ruined it for me. This is definitely one of those ones that you can rewatch 1,000 times and it never gets old, but it was ruined for me too. Because actually it took me like 10 years to finally watch this, but I was one of the last people in the world to see this movie. So I knew everything already going in. So I was not surprised. But I agree. If you could have gone in blind, it probably shocked you.
There's a reason why basically everyone, when they watch an M. Night Shyamalan movie, no matter what it is, they're waiting for the twist. It almost kind of, it's probably sucks to be him sometimes because if he puts out something without it, people are going to leave disappointed.
Yeah, and I think that it was funny. I was thinking about it this morning because, again, like I said, a lot of when we were talking about going blind, I was thinking like you could just say any M. Night Shyamalan film because he is like the twist director. But I think that like Sixth Sense is what caused that for him. Like it just absolutely it set him up to be this guy where like now everyone just expects him to have twists. Sometimes he hits, but like we talked about last week, sometimes he misses, like Old. I thought Old, I almost put it on here because the film is really good, but then the ending is like, God damn, like, like you just really falls short. So the only reason I didn't put Old on mine was because the ending didn't make the movie better. But Sixth Sense, the ending made the movie 10 times better.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. And then Unbreakable is another one where he followed up well. Mellow Fellow said hello, Dennis.
Hello, sir. Excited for the what we're gonna do later with some of your work. We'll get to that. I'm very very excited to see what's going on.
Yep. So I just went with next on your list.
So I'll say next one is one that I did again for the ending, and that's The Mist.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that ending is it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and again, without spoil, again, it's really hard because it's an older film. Most people that we are talking to now have seen it because we've all kind of seen it at this point. But if you can go in blind, now the movie itself is all right. I don't think it's one of the best ever made, but it's pretty good. The ending is why you need to go in blind. If you can somehow get to that point, not knowing what happens, it is one of the most shocking endings I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's different from the book. So people who even read the book probably they had no idea this was coming. It's a ballsy move. It's definitely a ballsy ending, and it's hard to imagine. It's really like Sophie's Choice.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you can go in without looking it up and you haven't seen it, do it for sure. Because strictly for the ending. That's a lot of these films on my list. Strictly the ending. If you don't know what's coming, it's worth the hour and a half, 2 hours to get there.
Yep, I completely agree with you. The next one I got on my list is Chinatown, which I've had in the thumbnail. I love Chinatown. It's one of my favorite movies ever. Like I put it in my top 5 just favorite movies. And this is one I did go into blind completely just because it was Jack Nicholson. When you go back and you're trying to catch up on classic films, a lot of times you're not going to watch the trailer description, they'll just be on a list. And you're like, all right, I got to watch this at some point in my life. And then you watch it and you're like, holy shit, that's one of the greatest movies ever. And then that's kind of what happened to me in Chinatown. I have to watch it every year. And again, the whole mystery is ruined by the end of it. Like, that's it. You know it all, but still, it works so well. Forget about
Yeah,
it,
and
Jake. It's Chinatown.
this is one that I was able to go in blind. And I put Jack Nicholson up there too. Like I mentioned, Kurt Russell, I think, is the best actor. Jack Nicholson's up there for sure. I feel like a lot of movies I've watched, again, without previews, without trailers, without anything, just because he is so good. Jack Nicholson is just so good. If he's in it, I'll watch it. That's what this one was. Of course, as we mentioned in the beginning, taboo subject to bring up who's involved with it, but definitely, definitely love the film. Love Jack Nicholson in it. And if you can go in blind, worth it.
Yeah, definitely. You get a great performance out of it and a beautiful movie. What's next up
Yeah.
on your list?
I have. Let's see. What can I go with? I'll go with another one. I'm trying to get all of the. Actually, you know what? Speaking of Jack Nicholson, I put The Departed.
Oh, that's a good one to go in blind. That's an interesting one, especially. It's a Martin Scorsese movie. I think I did go into this one blind, actually, if I remember right.
Yeah, I did too. And again, Jack Nicholson in it, Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, just it's Mark Wahlberg. Like it is stacked. The cast is stacked out of its mind. And I think this is why this list is really good because I went more, and I did this knowing you. I went a little bit more like the mainstream popular films that have the twist endings because I knew you would pick a lot more of the, like Moon and Chinatown and a little bit not like culty kind of classic films, and I went more mainstream, so our list would be more diverse. But this one again, it comes down to the ending. It's so well written, how all the characters' stories intertwine, how they meet each other and come across each other, and then the ending is just shocking too. So I feel like that's the theme of this list. The ending is just a shock.
Yeah, this has one of the most surprising scenes in film history, as far as like just out of nowhere deaths that you don't expect it at all.
Yeah,
And yeah, if you can and go into that blonde without knowing that happens, it will surprise the hell out of you.
yeah,
Which
100%.
brings me to actually the other one that's probably one of the most surprising deaths in film history that I saw in theaters. If you can go into this one blind, even though the trailer does try and subvert your expectations of the film, this makes it even more surprising. Is Hereditary, because there's a scene in Hereditary that when I saw that in the theaters, like the theaters went it was silent, and the movie stays like on a character who's silent as well, so it knows that this is how people are gonna feel. Like it's out of like you almost don't believe it happened. Like you're like, there's no way. And like in a mainstream movie, no.
Yeah, I'm pretty. We're talking about the same. And I remember actually a group of my friends saw this film before I did, and they told me about that scene first, and I was like, God, like that. I went in knowing that it happened. So I actually went in kind of like, all right, here we go. Where is it? Where is it? And then it happened. And to be fair, even though I knew it was coming, when it happens, you are like, what? For the rest of the film.
Yeah, it just and then like you're like, what the hell's the rest of the movie about? Especially if you watch the trailer, because the trailer makes it seem like that's the main character.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
a
so
lot like Scream with Drew Barrymore, except unfortunately, this is a character that will never be the head of a company.
I like that. That was good. Oh man, I like that. But yeah, no, that was a good one. That was one of the film. I feel like after Scream did it, a lot of movies try to kind of mimic that, like curveball. You think this is the main, but they're gone quick. This one pulled it off, I think, really perfectly because again, it really subverted your expectations with the trailer, and it made you think like this is who it's about. Whole film's going to have them, and it so quickly you're like, okay, well, there we go.
Yeah, and Mello said he gave up on this one about 60 minutes because he found it disturbing, which I can understand because there's like certain taboo subjects that like can really make people uncomfortable. Like there might be something that's like crazy gory that like I won't get offended by. We'll get more into that in disturbing films in a little while.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely will. I have plenty on that and a lot to say about them. So, if we do understand, obviously, there's some stuff in film. A lot of filmmakers try to push that envelope. They try to get to that line. A lot of them cross it, as we'll talk about later. But ever to each their own. If it does offend you, you do not have to watch it. And we would never recommend something on purpose if we knew it was offending you. That's the best I can say.
Yep, I agree. So you're up next, buddy.
All right, I'm gonna go with one that we have gotten a lot of heat for in a past video, and that is Law Abiding Citizen.
Yeah, you know what? That is a good one to go into blind. And I think I might have. I think because I'm pretty sure you showed me this movie because I remember when it first came out, you were a big fan just in general.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of it when you go in blind that it does surprise you the way the characters develop. It's a little underwhelming when you find out kind of how everything's happening, but then the ending was really, to me, again, like I visualize it in my head. That end scene, we talk about it, is really, really beautiful. I know it's
Yeah.
like a really sad and horrific ending, but the way that it's shot, the slow motion, and like I don't want to give it all away, but you know what I'm talking about. It is really, really well done.
It's beautiful. It is a beautifully shot film in general. I mean, and also makes you scared of T-bones.
Yeah, no more for me. I'm just a sirloin guy.
That's it. I wouldn't, but never saw anything.
That'll happen.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. You got to really use your ears on that.
What do you got next?
Another one with a very famous twist ending is Fight Club, and I think this still works no matter which way you go. But if you can go into this one blind, this is one unlike The Sixth Sense. It wasn't spoiled for me. I actually was able to get surprised at the end of this one, and it really makes you wonder why there's so many movies that focus on split personality disorder.
It's funny, actually. This is on my list. I just had to check it off. I also had it on here for the same reason. I was able to go in without knowing anything, and I also love. It's Edward Norton, right?
Yeah, Edward Norton and Brad Pitt.
I am one of, I guess, maybe few Edward Norton. Maybe a lot of people like him. I love Edward Norton. I think he's in a lot of really, really good movies, and I think he's always good in them. We talked about his, a lot of his stuff on this channel. I just think he's really, really good. And this film in particular, Brad Pitt also, he's so good in this role. And then, of course, the ending. Thank God it wasn't spoiled for me either, because the ending really, it makes you. This is one of those endings when you go back and rewatch, you can kind of pick up on things, knowing what's coming later that make the film even better.
Yeah, this one definitely gives you the clues. It's like it's all right in front of you if you're just paying attention. Like the way he's reacting to certain people, the way the characters react to him. Like it's like, why are they reacting different when we just saw them acting this way like just a few scenes ago? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no. I definitely agree though. It's funny. That was the first one we've had so far that's been on both lists.
And it's funny, Edward Norton is in another movie that's not on my list, but I probably should have. Like, Primal Fear has another great twist ending with him, which I love too. Which is he just maybe he's the king of the twists. He's the M Night. Him and M Night should work together.
I'm telling you, he's really good. I don't know if he's underrated. I don't know where he stands in people's minds, but I like him a lot. I like a lot of his art, his movies and everything.
Yeah, so do I. I think he's great. He's always been a great actor. The thing that with him is that he's hard to work with, is what I've heard. Is and that's why like he got fired from being the Hulk and everything. It's like he's like a control freak. He goes in like rewrites like stuff like American History X. Like apparently like he rewrote all the script and then it's like he gets forgiven because the quality of the work speaks for itself. And people are like, well, what were you going to do? Because this is almost perfect to us. So what did he change? He must have changed something for the right then, right?
Yeah, and it's funny. That's what I heard about the Hulk because I loved his Hulk, and when I learned about it, he gets like really nitpicky about stuff. Like there were things in the Hulk that he like went hard reading the comic books and the history and like all this crazy stuff. So he actually, I do get that he's difficult to work with because he tries to be super accurate and very true to the material. And I don't think he gets into the Hollywood stuff. He likes things to be very authentic to the work, and people don't really love that about him.
No, like it's like, guy, we're just trying to do a job here. It's like almost like what how method actors can piss off like regular people. It's like, like what are you doing? We're like for a lot of people, this is just a job. Like, we might not look at it, we look at it as art and they look at it as art, but it's like, I'm going to work today. I gotta go home tonight. Can you fucking stop?
Yeah, 100% agree. Um, so
Yeah,
my
and
next one,
Dog Day Afternoon is what they're talking about down here. That's a good one to go into blind, actually, too, because you're right. There is a good twist in that you wouldn't, especially for a movie from the 70s, you wouldn't expect.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, I feel like that's when twists were creative, I guess you could say, because now they've been done so much that I feel like now people are almost numb to twist endings where they're like, okay, what is it? Like, and you spend the whole movie trying to figure it out instead of sitting trying to enjoy it because they've been done so much. So it's hard for modern films to really get it right, you know?
Yeah, and unfortunately, actually, that's kind of how I always feel in an M Night movie. Is that I feel that way watching it. I'm waiting for the twist, and that sucks because I should be appreciating the filmmaking because he makes good movies.
Yeah, yeah, he does. But yeah, I think people go in trying to figure it out, you know?
Yep, Planet of the Apes, great twist. Didn't have that on my list. Did you have that?
I did not, no. But also great.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that is great. What's this one say? Definitely worth it. Black and white versions. Yeah, The Mist is a great 4K. I don't know if you have the 4K, Dennis. That's like right up your alley as far as 4K.
Mhm.
It's got the black and white and colored version in there.
I'd be very curious to watch the black and white version. I
It
There's a lot of
it
really
works for
good
black
black
and
and
white.
whites.
It
Yeah.
works for it, man. I think you really like it. Yeah, because like that's how he wanted to shoot it, Darabont, but unfortunately the studio said no. So like he still uses like black and white lighting. So when he made the black and white version, it transfers really well.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah. So
Um,
I think we're up to you, right?
yeah, so this is kind of the last of my super popular. I did pick Shawshank Redemption.
That's a good one. If you can that because I really do feel like the first viewing of Shawshank is always the best because it does kind of weaken for me each time I watch it.
Yes, and this is one of the biggest examples of that for me. If you can go in s- blind or somewhat, because again, it's an older film, super popular film. Everybody's seen it, talked about it, reviewed it, the whole nine yards. If you can go in not knowing a ton, I think it's really good. But I agree, there's a lot of holes in it, and as soon as you start rewatching it, the more you rewatch it, the more you start to notice the holes and the gaps in the logic and everything. So it's not a bad movie. I still think it's a great movie. Definitely rewatchable, but you will not enjoy it as much as the first time you saw it.
Now, what happens at the end of that movie, and I'm sure everybody's seen it. It's one of the most famous things, and then of course it's spoofed how many different times. I always think of the Family Guy spoof with that. It's a good one.
Yeah, Family Guy does the best spoofing.
What about Terminator 3? Yeah, Terminator 3 has a great twist ending, actually. It's the best part of Terminator 3. That's the only problem. It's the everything leading up to that is just like, why are they doing this? Why are they not using a Brad Fidel score? Why is Arnold wearing star sunglasses? Oh, they actually went through with Judgment Day. Good.
Thank God.
Yeah, saves the movie. World's
Yeah.
over, but saves the movie.
All right. I think you're up. I have three left there for now.
What do I got left? Not many. Next up, I got Jacob's Ladder. Have you ever seen this one?
I have. Yeah, I didn't put it on my list, but that is a really good one.
That is, I did not expect that at all. I was like, oh my god, this movie is so dark. This is still one of the movies that gets under my skin. Actually, not many movies can, but it's so uncomfortable the whole time, and some of the scenes like are purposely trying to do that. But I love this movie, and if you can go into it without knowing what's going on, and then you get to the end, and you're like, holy shit, it's a great movie.
Yeah, 100% agree if you can. And same. I should have put it on my list. I'm right there with you though. There are definitely a lot of scenes in it that you watch and you kind of get goosebumps. Like you said, it gets under your skin. You feel uncomfortable watching it, but not in a way that's like I don't want to finish the movie.
No,
But you definitely get uncomfortable.
it's like a weird mixture between horror and like sadness. Like, obviously other movies have captured that, but this one, like, it's like the drama is able to balance out the horror so that you can keep going. Like, you'll just get some really sad scenes, but then you'll see something like that dancing scene. You're like, wow, well, this song is great, but I don't know about her.
Yeah, no, they did a really, really good job with it. It
Oh,
doesn't really get worse with the rewatches, but I agree. The first time you watch it, it's very shocking.
this is one that I should have put on my list that slipped my mind. Angel Heart. I forgot about that. It has a great twist ending, actually, and it's honestly still my favorite Mickey Rourke film too. It's a good one.
Yeah, I agree. That should have been on here too. That's a miss by us. We apologize.
That twist though was like clearly right out in the open. Once you know De Niro's character's name, you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. You look back like I'm so dumb.
It
Oh,
works
all right.
though. You're up next though.
Um, yep. So I got three left. I went with one that was more recent, and it's very hard to get away with. Like it's a streaming. It was on Hulu, but it's Fresh. Did you watch Fresh?
Fresh. I have seen it. I'm just trying to remember the movie. Fresh. Because I definitely
There's
have.
kidnapping and cannibalism in it, but in a very classy way.
Yes, I have seen this. This was Hulu, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Wasn't Sebastian Stan's in it, right? He's singing
He-
Reckless Heart, I think, by Peter. What's his name in that? I did remember this movie. This
yes.
movie's great. You're right.
Yes. Yes. So again, it's hard like with the name and with the preview and the art, like it kind of gives it away already. But the first time I watched it, I remember like I really enjoyed the movie. It was shot really well. The acting was great. I think it was really, really good. I haven't rewatched it since, so I don't know if it gets worse or not. But if you can go in not really knowing a lot about it, it's really, really good.
Yeah, that is a really good movie. And you're right. Classy cannibalism is the perfect sell on that. There's a certain culture to it.
Yeah, done the right way.
Plugging really into the Epstein stuff, like right there in the open. But yeah, actually, it's funny. You're the one who told me to watch this movie. Now that I remember, I just completely forgot about it.
Yeah, and I haven't since then. I haven't rewatched it, but I remember watching it for the first time. And again, some of it's not that shocking, but it wasn't super surprising. But the first time that I did watch it, and the only time so far, really loved it. I think it was just it's more shocking in like the material and like what's going on is super dark and really, really, I don't know, like evil. But it's done by characters that seem really lighthearted and friendly. Like you said, dancing and singing as he's cooking, and it's just I don't know, that juxtaposition's really cool. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, this could be a much darker movie, and surprisingly for the subject matter, it's not. And they picked like some big pop songs, like what's his name was just saying how like good music in there. Stevie Don, 1969 said, and yeah, that's why I enjoy the music. It's right up
Yeah,
my alley for that.
yeah.
So next up, I got for me Dark City from 1998, I believe, which just got a 4K release. This one's great.
Yeah, this one's really good. Another one that I actually was able to go into without knowing.
Me too. The only thing I was sold on this movie was that I was told it was like The Matrix, but it got ruined by The Matrix coming out. And then when I watched it, I'm like, that's 100% true, even though it's very different than The Matrix. But I could see like how it's shot with the greens and blues. And I'm like, I see like, yeah, The Matrix probably took a lot from this, but it's got its own thing going on. and I love it. I love the gothic look of the film. I love the sci-fi. I love everything about it. Even Kiefer Sutherland doing a weird voice. Love it all.
No, I agree. It's a really good, and I think you're right. It got hurt by the Matrix being out, and it's I can see, like you said, the similarities. If not for anything, the lighting, the camera, like everything about it is shot very similar to the Matrix, and that obviously blew up and was the biggest thing in the world. So it definitely got hurt by that, but definitely worth a watch. I think you're right. There's a lot in it to appreciate. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who actually might not have seen it yet or don't know a lot about it because the Matrix came out around then.
Yeah, that's the biggest flaw, unfortunately, is that it just gets once something that like is perceived better, that's it. The other one gets buried, and that's kind of what happened with Dark City. And it's a shame because I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, the next one I have, we've talked about actually recently a couple times, and that's Midsommar.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Yeah, that one I did go into blind. I was sold on it just on as the director of Hereditary.
Yeah, if you could, so it is long, and you feel like you dropped acid half the film because it is just bizarre. But I think if you go in blind, it's very shocking. There's a lot of twists, a lot of turns, a lot of things that happen that you just kind of are like, what, why, what, why did that, what? And then the ending is just like, I don't even know how to explain it, honestly. It just feels like you are on acid the whole time.
That is a great way to put it. And it's the rare, like bright, colorful horror film. Like it really is. It is. I want to see it again. I've only seen it the one time, and I was a little bit let down, and that's why I haven't gone back to it. But I actually am in the mood to go back. I guess it's been enough time. I've healed, so I do. But that is a great one to go into blind because yeah, it changes the tone so much. The opening is freaky as hell. I mean, like sad again. And to answer Mr. Smelly Potato, yeah, I got the Dark City 4K. I'll get a review for that out next week because this week we got so much too. So
Yeah,
that's a
busy
good
week.
call though.
Thank you. And what do you got?
I have one of my favorite films, Pulp Fiction, because I didn't go into this completely blind, and it like made me fall in love with film. So like I had to put it on the list. If you could somehow go into this blind in 2025, you're in for a treat when it comes to filmmaking.
Yeah, agreed. That was one that almost made my list. I just feel like I picked a lot of other ones that are pretty popular, so I didn't want it to be mine like top 10 most popular films. But this is a really good one. I was able to go into it blind, and it's just I don't know. Tarantino really doesn't miss, with all of his films. But this is the one that I agree. This was the one that got me into Tarantino movies, and it's one that I go back to every year.
Yeah, I go back to it every single year too. It's one of the greats, one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, 100%. I'm on my last one now on this list, and it's one that I have to thank you for.
Ooh.
Yeah, so big shout out to John for this one, and it is Summer of '84.
Oh, that's a good one. I should have put that on my list. Yeah, that one you really should go into blind. I was also sold on this by my cousin Matt, who did the show originally. He was the one who said that to go into this blind too. And yeah, the ending, man, goes for it.
That's it, man. The whole movie is really good. It's right up my alley. It's classic old school '80s kind of murder mystery deal. Like it's so well done. And then you told me nothing. You were like, I'm just gonna give you this Blu-ray, watch it. It's so good. Don't expect anything. I was like, okay, all right, I'm just gonna put it on. And I remember texting you right after, like, dude, what the hell? Because that ending is insane.
Oh my god, it really is. And it makes the movie should have been bigger just because of that. It's a shame it wasn't. It didn't make any money, and I think only like certain people even bring it up.
Yeah, but I love it. So thanks to you, that I think it was so good.
Yeah, no, that's no problem. If you don't like Tarantino's personality, I'm not sometimes he annoys me too. He can be overwhelming, but man, I love his movies. He's my favorite director.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like it's hard to. I get it. There are some other directors and stuff that's it's difficult for people to like separate the art from the artist kind of thing. And there's a lot of people I feel the same way. So it's not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah, because I could be like that with Woody Allen, so I understand. I guess the last one on my list is actually one that we both like, and that's Sinister. I think if you go to Sinister blind, that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah, that's still to me. I mean, if we were asked our top 10, like, not even horror movies, but movies that genuinely scared us, this would be at the top of my list every time.
Yeah, that's a great one, right? Like, I mean, and the sequel kind of lets me down because the first one's so good and it was so unexpected. I didn't expect, for some reason, when it came out, like it kind of came and went in theaters, and I didn't really know too much about it. And I was like, oh, Ethan Hawke in a horror movie. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out. And like, I was like, my expectations just were blown out of the water, like those freaking guys in the pool. Well, the family.
Yeah, yeah, dude, the whole thing. I loved so much about it. I love the grainy film in it. The old school family home movies and the shot cutting of that all being put together. It was. You're right. This is a great one if you can go in not knowing a lot about it, and I think it's genuinely scary. I really do. I know there's a lot of people who might disagree, but I think
No,
it's one of the
I agree.
scariest films.
I agree with that. It's there's not many films that can get me like uncomfortable, like Jacob's Ladder and Sinister. That's why I kind of put them on the list because it's so rare. I'm like so desensitized. That's why when we do disturbing, like it's like I'm just like so desensitized. Like what disturbs me, like something that might disturb somebody else, like really might not get me. And like things like this, though, especially like kids, like it makes you uncomfortable and like almost like that sense of dread. Like there's no escaping it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it does a great job of that. And like you said, that it does a really almost a perfect job of dread and that like trapped. There's no way out of this. You're stuck. There's only one way that it ends, and you feel that the whole movie.
Yep, I completely agree. Since that question took us a while, let's do the unboxing. What do you think?
Yeah, let's check it out.
All right, all right. So
Very excited.
I'm gonna turn off my blur so you guys will see what's behind me. This is an office, so sometimes it's not the cleanest. Even though I am a beacon of cleansiness, right, Dennis?
Oh, absolutely, the most clean and organized individual I've ever met.
Thank you. So, Mr. Mellow Fellow, he's actually sent me a gift, right here in this packaging. I'm not going to show you his address or anything or my address because that could lead to murder. But Mellow Fellow has a YouTube channel himself, and he shows off a lot of custom artwork that he does. And he's a great artist. And I've never actually gotten his artwork personally, but he has sent me a few slip covers and sleeves that fit into stuff. Actually, he sent me a ton, so I probably won't be able to show them all off. I didn't realize you sent me this much, buddy. That was a lot. Thank you so much. But we'll go through them. I'll maybe take some pictures and post them on the Instagram as well. But here's one for Do the Right Thing, Dennis. You can see this.
Nice,
Right?
nice. I did, yeah, really good. I mean, I wish I was there to actually feel the quality of it too. I'm very excited to see these though, because I know actually it was only last week or the week before I talked about this. How I'm
Yeah.
a sucker for box art and steel books and stuff.
Yeah, no, these are beautiful. Here's one right here that's right up my. Look at this predator.
Oh wow, yeah.
These are all just other stuff like not my favorite for a reason. Like he's thank you for the compliment. That no problem, LFL. This is impressive stuff though, man. Oh, look at this. I mean,
Dude,
Predator is one of my favorite movies too. So
yeah. No, these are great.
oh, here's something for Dog Day After, which is funny because we were just talking about Dog Day Afternoon.
There you go.
And this is really good. I don't want to mess up the paper stock, but
So yeah, be careful with these.
I know, like Scarface.
Nice. Nice. Dude, these look really good. Yeah, I'm like
And the paper stock is really, really, really good.
oh wow, yeah.
Like
No, the artwork on these look great. I mean,
yeah,
better than most of the stuff you get from the store.
well, that's the whole thing. Is that especially from actual Criterion, like I have Seven Samurai, and this is just so much. I've always never, well, I've never really liked the artwork for what they actually give to us, and this is such a big improvement. Blue Velvet, same thing. Like I don't like the plain artwork right now, so I will swap this out, which is great.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so you buy this stuff, and again, you can check out a lot of his stuff. Like Parasite, Criterion has their own version. This is much nicer artwork.
Yeah,
but
maybe we could do a separate video where we compare the ones you have already and some of his artwork to it.
Yeah. Which actually, you know what? Paris, Texas. This is great. This is a good time for us to actually talk a little bit about our show in the future as well, like our other show, what we're going to be doing, because we got some videos coming up.
Yeah, we do. Exciting. We're trying to add more content for you guys. You know, we're doing really good with the OG versus remake series, all the voting and everyone. People seem to really enjoy it, which we have to touch base on that too. But we have a couple new concepts we're playing with. You know, so you want to dive into that, John?
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is because Dennis is gonna be on a show like every week, like besides the live show. So you guys know about our original versus remake. That's every other week. We do that. And which, by the way, looks like Dawn of the Dead has won. The original has won by 54 to 46%. So we will update that on the next original versus remake, which looks like, because we got to cut the poll off at some point so we can watch the movies. It looks like it's going to be The Stepfather, but the Crazies got really close.
It did. That was very shocking to me. And to you know what? I know my original vote was the remake of Dawn of the Dead. And thank you to everyone who voted and commented. I feel like everyone kind of had the same opinion. If you liked the remake, you said you still love the original. And if you liked the original, you said you still did like the remake. So it was a pretty close, a very, very close race. The original just edged out by a little bit. So we have to update that tally. It's now 2-0. The OGs are taking it.
Yeah, it looks that way. Stepfather, I mean, I already think I have my choice, but I haven't watched the remake in years, so who knows? You know, things could change, opinions change. But yeah, we're gonna do the Stepfather, and the Crazies got really close. And then we'll talk about what we'll do on our next original versus remake. But for those other weeks in between, me and Dennis will also do another video. We're working on an A24 list, so that'll be our first alternate. But then we're also gonna do and it's funny, Acres of Movies recommended this. Gave the title, and we've been talking about it because, and a lot of people have been talking about in the chat. Uh, was it great or were you eight? And we're going to do a little video series on that where we pick a few movies from our childhood, like each, every other week or something, and we'll talk about one of those movies.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I feel like ever since you told me that, it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago now that you said you heard in a podcast or something someone say that phrase, was it great or were you eight? And I feel like I've quoted it every week since we've been speaking. So I think it'll be a good series and it'll also help us kind of branch out. I feel like a lot of our focus is primarily like horror, a little bit of thriller. This will bring us into a lot of other areas where, not even just, kids movies. I mean, we talked about doing like Small Soldiers and Little Giants and stuff like that, but there's other stuff, we just go into the 90s really, 90s, early 2000s. That's when we were growing up and see if there's something that we notice and we're like, you know what, I remember I haven't seen this since then. And we'll talk about it. Was it actually a great movie or, were we
Yeah.
eight at that time?
You could even look at like the famous ones for other people, like Hook gets like shit on by like everybody, but then people who grew up with Hook absolutely love it. It's like the same thing with the Goonies. Like, it took me a long time to come around on the Goonies, mainly because it wasn't like a childhood favorite of mine. So sometimes that ruins it. And Mellow Fellow, like, don't be sorry at all, man. Thank you so much. Those were beautiful. Like, I'm gonna go through them all. Like, I just kind of like glanced at them, but I'm gonna swap them out. And like Dennis said, we'll maybe do another video on that on one of our alternate weeks too, because we don't want to blow through like all these videos, like original versus remake. We want to kind of separate them out so that we have plenty to talk about.
Yeah, no, and from here, Mellow Fellow, they looked awesome. I can't wait to see him in person. I think they look really great. And like we said, I that's my thing. We had that question last week, I think it was, is it worth going to 4K? Should you stay Blu-ray? And I said, for me personally, I'm an artwork guy, love the artwork. So I usually go with what looks the best. And honestly, from what I've seen in that box, most of that blows away what the studios are giving us. So really, kudos to you, man. It looks like you do great, great work.
Yeah, I feel like maybe a studio could hire somebody like Mellow Fellow instead of like doing whatever the hell it is that they're doing. Warner Brothers, especially, like they just commission it out. I think to like the secretary at the desk, like, you know what? Can you get the Terminator artwork together for us? And they're like, "What's the Terminator?" Just look it up. You'll be fine. Jesus Christ. I'm going to go in here.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so that's one of them. I know we also tossed around maybe in an off week too. We could do the other concept we were throwing around was we don't have a working name for it, but we pick a genre and we pick our best from the genre, our worst from the genre, and a hidden gem from the genre. So, if it's horror, what's the best horror movie? What's the worst that we've seen? And what's one we think people should see that maybe they haven't? Just another concept for you guys. Again, trying to create stuff for you so we're not just doing the same live show OG remake, live show OG remake. We want to really break it up and also branch out into other movies and other concepts and give you guys a lot of good stuff to watch.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing with this channel in general. You try and give a bunch of different things. Me and Dennis are working together a lot more. Then you got the Let's Talk Movies podcast with me and David. And then, of course, the 4K reviews all split into there. But I think we kind of found the rhythm. It's just I want, me and Dennis want to do more stuff together, especially since, we've known each other forever. So we
Since birth.
so we just, it's a good way for us. Like, that's the cool thing about StreamYard and stuff. Me and Dennis don't actually have to be together to, like, talk to each other. That was kind of the first time around that was kind of tough with scheduling things, because Dennis lives a little bit further away from me, and it's not easy for him to get all the way out here or for me to get all the way out to him, because of course we also have to work.
Yeah, that puts a downer on it, but excited for that for sure.
Yeah.
We still got time. You want to jump into our next top 10 list?
Yep, gonna put that up there, and then hopefully we have a couple other smaller questions. If we can't get to them, we'll make sure those go to the top of next week's. Like, everyone who sends in questions, we just get so many of them. Like, we can't answer them all. We apologize. Like, that's kind of like, it doesn't mean we don't take them all seriously. It's just there's a ton.
Yeah, and especially the top 10 ones, as you saw. I mean, it took 45 minutes for us to get through that first top 10 list, especially if we don't have the same things on our lists, and we just want to give each question as much attention as we possibly can.
Yeah, it's like going to a Kevin Smith Q&A. I've seen a couple of these, and he has people line up for his Q&As, and he takes 2 questions for 3 hours. You just get him going, like, but everyone's standing there like, you're like, you're not getting your question. But you understand. You just kind of want to hear him talk.
Yeah. We try to do our best, but this one, I think we're gonna have
some overlap, I'm sure.
At least one, guarantee. And then I don't know how you did it. I kind of went with my biggest bugaboos in movies.
See, I actually did a couple of different things. I did things that actually disturb me personally that might not disturb other people. And then, like I actually have one that's a complete cheat, because it's like, something that just like something I don't want to see in film.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot, and I'll comment on it.
Midsommar overlap. Yeah. You can put Midsommar and Hereditary on here, and even Bo is afraid.
Yeah, no, I agree. Midsommar, while it was on the other one to go in blind, I understand. It could absolutely be on disturbing, because there's some scenes in that one that I watched. I explained it to my wife. I was like, and then they went into this barn, and she was like, "What the hell did you watch?"
Well, it's ceremonial. You're not understanding.
Yeah, you're not of the people, so you don't get it.
There's a reason why you live here, not there.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. My first one, I'm gonna go with one we've talked about quite a bit. And actually, it's not the original; it's the sequel, and that is Terrifier 2. And the only reason it's not 3 is because 2 was so disgusting, I didn't even watch 3.
Yeah, like I agree with this. Didn't make my list. I could have put any Terrifier, but this is kind of where I come into, like, it's just to show off the effects, and I know it's effects because the guy comes from it. So I was never disturbed. I was more bored, which might seem surprising to some people. I didn't enjoy the movie just because there's nothing to it. But this, like, there's nothing that entertained me. Batman and Robin was pretty disturbing. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they can't all be great, right? But yeah, so I put this one in particular. There's just one scene where he like skins a girl in her bedroom,
for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, dude, it's so long, and like, it wasn't disturbing in the sense that I was like vomiting, but it was disturbing. Like, I just don't want to watch it. Like, this doesn't add to a story. This is just like, I guess, like you said, this is just to show our ability in terms of practical effects. But like, it's disgusting, and I don't need to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's almost like a proof of it's funny, this will be the first person to ever compare this to the Avatar movies, but I always look at the Avatar movies as a show off for like special, like, computer effects and how we are evolving in that. But I just do not like the movies around the effects. I'm like, if you go into that and you want to see what the new effects look like and what we can do now, that's what Avatar is there to show you, because James Cameron's always making that step. On the other side, that's what these movies are doing. They're just trying to show off how far we can go with practical effects, because that's what this guy did before.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, he's great at it, but there's nothing to this film unless you just want to watch people, like, different ways for them to show bodies getting destroyed. That's it.
Yeah, and that's all I have. Irreversible. It's so funny. This is a movie that I just recently watched that somebody's been begging me to watch for a long time. He's not wrong. That's a disturbing one. I don't think I'll go back to it.
I have not seen it. I'm not sure if it's on this list, and I haven't seen it. I got to be honest, I don't know that I would watch it.
The thing is that you get like the most disturbing thing out front. It's more about like because the way they tell the movies like in reverse, it's interesting actually.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out. What do you got?
So on my list, let's start at the bottom. I'm gonna go with arachnophobia because this is not really probably disturbing to many people at all, but I get really freaked out by bugs and especially like spiders, mainly because I have a vision problem. I don't know, a lot of you guys might not know that, but you probably should. I have a vision problem, so I don't really necessarily see every bug, but when I see them, they scare the shit out of me. And spiders, especially, are the ugliest creatures. I don't like eight-legged freaks really either for the same reason. And that's just not even supposed to be scary.
I'm right there with you. I actually have never watched it because I genuinely hate spiders so much that it makes me uncomfortable watching anything with them, like
Yeah.
anything at all. It's just, it makes me itchy. I feel like there's bugs crawling on me, so that I can't go to it. I can't watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, the movie's great, and like, I'm sure people who aren't scared of bugs like really arachnophobia because it's like literally supposed to be like a light horror movie. I mean, it's directed by Frank Miller, I'm pretty sure, so
Yeah.
it's not supposed to be that scary. But I don't want to see spiders like that, man. I do not.
Yeah, 100% agree. It's disgusting. And piggybacking off of bugs, we've talked about it a lot. I did put human centipede. You could put 1, 2, 3, 5, 9, however many there are, but I put human centipede on here because it's just disgusting.
Made my list. That's on there too. I
Good.
absolutely. So you could pick another one. We've talked about human centipede. We don't need to talk about ass to mouth anymore right now.
Well, actually, you know what? Let's talk about S to Mouth. I'll go to my next one, Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream. That's a good, honestly, that is a good one. Again, like not necessarily trying to like disturb you, I guess, but it's more realistic. So that's what makes it disturbing. There's nothing light about that movie.
Yeah, no, and I said ass to mouth, but actually that ending where they're in the room and they're just yelling ass to ass, and
Yeah.
dude, honestly, the part that disturbs me the most in this whole film is when they show the injections.
Yep.
That's disgusting, and the infected veins.
Jared Leto's arm at the end is like the most disturbing thing to me. Although,
Sure.
actually, the mom, like Ellen Burstyn's character, like speeding out and stuff, and like how she's like thinks she's like doing the right thing, but doesn't realize how far she's collapsing. That hurts to see too.
Yeah, like the whole film, I remember watching it thinking like, all right, it's a Jared Leto movie. It's, it's about drug addiction and stuff. Like we've grown up around that. Like, Long Island's no stranger to heroin addiction and all that stuff. Like, how
Nope.
crazy could it be? And then I watched it and I remember I literally watched it with my wife and I told her I'll probably never watch this again.
It's hard to come back to. It's just the only reason you do come back to it is for like the filmmaking. It's a lot like, not to compare it to Schindler's List, but like Schindler's List is another one people like, I can't go back and rewatch that because of the subject. But like, it's such a good, well-made movie. But I get it.
Yeah.
And giant bug. I like spider movies and giant bug movies. They freak me out. There was a spider movie that came out last year that freaked me out too, and the spider was good.
Yeah, dude, I can't. I won't even watch Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I don't like Charlotte.
What you got?
Well, actually, we both had the same one, so you go again.
You had Requiem for a Dream also?
Oh no, that's right. I didn't go yet. So I'm gonna pick another bug one. I'm gonna go with Phenomena, which is a Dario Argento movie, which is actually a great movie, but there's a scene with bugs like attacking a skull. It's hard for me to go back and see that because that freaked me the hell out.
I have not seen it, but if you're telling me that there's a bug infestation, no, thank you.
Movie's great though. It's a very Dario Argento in the 80s, which he's like the king of Giallo, and he's always very good. Obviously, like between this and Suspiria and all the other movies. Something, what is it? Dark Red. I'm trying Deep Red. Something I can't remember the name.
I have not seen it. But it's funny that I didn't know that we even had this same thing. I bugs, dude. I can't even like in the Mummy, when the beetles come out of that kind of stuff. I can't. I'm not about it. Even like shout out to my friend Dylan. He hates mice and rats, and I agree. Like Willard and all those when there's an excess of rodents, bugs, or insects, I get very uncomfortable with it.
The reason why I don't want that ever either, but like especially if there's a lot of them, but like one or two rats never freaked me out. I've had a cat, for a long time, and he always was able to take care of that. So unfortunately, he's passed away. So, but I don't think the rats have realized yet. So we're fine.
You're fine until one of them knocks on the door. Is like, "Hey guys, I
And
don't
then
think
he
the
said,
cat's here."
"Yeah, I don't think, guys, we can go back now."
All right, I'm gonna go with a different. It's a newer one, and the whole film itself is not disturbing, but there's just one scene at the end, and I think you'll know, and that's "Don't Breathe."
Oh, yes, this is a good one. And yeah, the ending of that movie, that's actually why I don't go back to it either.
Yeah, with the turkey baster.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
my
dude,
God. This got a sequel too that I still haven't seen.
I have not either. Just strictly the ending. I was like, no, thank you. This is just crossing into some territory that I am uncomfortable with.
Yeah, they went there.
Yeah, they sure did.
Ratatouille. That's a good one. A good movie. Ratatouille is a good movie. Like, yeah, that should teach us. Rats know how to cook and stuff. They know more than us.
Yeah, they definitely don't bring disease into the kitchen.
I just watched Once Upon a Time in the West and was surprised that Dario Argento didn't have a writing credit. Yeah, Dario Argento was popping around a lot. He worked a lot with George A. Romero, despite being Italian. He did involve himself a lot in American cinema. Same thing with Sergio Leone, so they crossed over a lot. So it makes sense the Italian cinema to cross over a little bit.
Yeah.
So did I just go or did you just go?
I just went. I did "Don't Breathe" with the turkey baster.
So you could have just picked the scene because this is kind of a cheat. I kind of cheated for this, like a similar thing, because the rest of the movie is phenomenal. I have the beginning of John Wick.
Dude, I haven't seen these yet. You told me I have to, and I haven't seen them.
Yeah, well, the reason why I only picked the beginning of John Wick is because that's when they kill his dog, and it's so hard to watch. It is still like, even when I watch it now, like, and I know it's coming, and even watching the Wick is Pain documentary and knowing like it's just a puppet, the dog that they have in front of him that's dead, like it's literally a puppet, and Keanu has to like act with it. And it's funny now, but I'm like, that's what they're implying still hurts. Again, the dog looks a little bit like one of my dogs, so I'm like, that makes it even worse. I'm gonna go with the first 7 minutes of John Wick.
Yeah, no, and listen, that's when I said at the beginning of this, a lot of these films I picked for like bugaboos. I don't enjoy animals being killed. Insects can die 1,000 times. I'm all right with that. But like if it's any sort of large animal that dies, especially dogs, like I could have put, that 30-second clip in I Am Legend, like horrible. I agree with you 100%. Dog deaths in movies is something I am not a fan of in any way. It really upsets me. So I agree. Good addition.
Yeah, I had to do it. I had to. It's disturbing.
That kind of actually piggybacks into one of mine here, which I did put "The Hills Have Eyes."
Okay. I picked another one from the 70s. This almost made my list. This one is disturbing.
Yeah, and I saw the remake of it first, and then the original, and neither one are not disturbing. They're both extremely disturbing. There's so it nails two of my bugaboos, which is any sort of sexual assault and animals, specifically dogs dying, happens in it. Not a fan.
Nope. Yeah, no. And this is just like that. Again, this is a good one for dread. Like, you really don't feel like you're gonna escape these people. Like, they're
Yeah,
absolute monsters. Yeah, this is a really good one to make your list. I picked one similar to this, actually. I picked The Last House on the Left, the original.
I have that on here as well.
Oh, okay. I thought you might have it.
Yeah, again, same reason. It's got one of my big bugaboos in it.
Yeah, that has one of the most disturbing and realistic ones of that. And for an early Wes Craven film, like, to be like this dark, and the fact that, again, like what ends up happening to her in general, like it's monstrous. I can't believe they actually did that. I'm actually surprised it was like, I mean, I think it was rated X if I'm correct at the time, but now it's like, you can watch it anywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I mean. Like any sort, and obviously we're talking about like really heavy stuff, and that's what it just makes me uncomfortable when that stuff, like, and I know people they put it in film because it's supposed to be like this happens, and we have to be more aware of this, and like you could say whatever you want, but it's just very uncomfortable anytime it's in a movie. And like they keep saying animal cruelty, any sort of sexual assault, like in Last House on the Left and House Have Eyes, there's rape involved. That stuff hard. I immediately have a very hard time moving forward with the film. Oftentimes, I'll fast forward over. I can't. I'm so uncomfortable with that stuff. I can't do it.
No, I've never been a big fan of that either. And I don't think, obviously the goal of that stuff is to make you uncomfortable. The people who were sitting there going, wow, it's my favorite scene in the movie. What are you talking about? You might have a problem. Like,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole goal of those scenes is like the director wants you to feel uncomfortable because theoretically you would think the person that's doing that will get their comeuppance.
yeah. And it's just one of those things where I'm like, I just prefer them lean towards it, but don't let it happen. Once it happens, I'm like, oh God, I need to take a shower.
Yeah, I get you.
Let's see, what else do I have on here? I guess in that same kind of vein, I put a Rob Zombie film on here. I went House of a Thousand Corpses.
Really? That's funny because I find that to be like the least disturbing of a lot of his stuff.
I think there's a lot of dead body stuff in it and a lot just really uncomfortable, tortury, locked in the room, like just and it's very dirty feeling. I don't know. There's just also the way he shot it. Again, I mentioned it before with being on acid the whole time. It feels like a big acid trip. So it's
Yeah.
disturbing to the senses. It's disturbing content. There's just a lot of it that I'm like, I don't really go back to this film.
Yeah, the reason why it feels like an acid trip is because he shot it like 3 years before it came out, and he said he just had all this time to edit it because nobody was picking up the movie, and he's like, it's just jumbled together into like such a way. Which it's funny because like I guess that just shows that I'm not as big a Rob Zombie fan as you because like that's like one of my favorites because it feels like so weird and unique from like what his usual stuff feels like. Usually he nails that like backwoods feeling, and I'm just like for me it's like I like that. Like I think most people would put The Devil's Rejects as his best film. I think that's the third one in the Firefly trilogy for me. I put Three from Hell over that, which is crazy. I know.
Wow, wow, interesting. Yeah, no, I mean, listen, it's not. Again, this is like our own personal taste, so I get it. There's people who are going to watch that and not be disturbed, and people who love the Terrifier films and love all this stuff. Just to me personally, I just I don't go back to House of Thousand Corpses at all.
Yeah, all right, I get that. Like that's like that feels very Halloweeny to me.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, it
All right.
is. It's of the season, but I don't know. Not a fan.
No, I get that. I didn't have a Rob Zombie one make my list, but one that did make my list was Maniac from 1980. Have you ever seen this one?
Oh, I have actually recent. Only like last year I saw it.
Yeah, they did get a remake, but I'm talking about the original one, which is fantastic. One of the most disturbing 70s, even though it takes place, it's for 1980, but it's like feels like 70s New York, the movie. And it's a guy, he's a maniac. He's out there killing people, but then doing some freaky stuff with mannequins. Really just uncomfortable the entire time, but such a good movie.
Yeah, this is the one where he's scalping people, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it's always like, and this movie like changed my perspective of the actor because like the actor's like he's in Rocky, he's in a bunch of stuff throughout the 70s, and then actually he sadly died not too long after this from cancer. But like like it makes me every time I see him, I think of this movie now because it's like you did that.
Yeah, no, I did. I actually, it's funny. I've only ever seen the original. I've never seen the remake. Isn't it like Elijah Wood in the remake?
Yeah, it is. It's like it might have been Elijah Wood starring. I'm like, did Eli Roth direct it? I don't know if that's the one he directed or not. But yeah, it's got a remake that unfortunately kind of lose the grittiness of the point of the original one.
Yeah, and I think that's, maybe we could add that to the OG remake list too. But I think that's what happens a lot of times. There's such a like a raw feeling to 70s and 80s horror films that you lose when you clean it up and polish it in, the late 2010s, 20s, and so on.
Yeah, and like we talked about with like Dawn of the Dead, Tom Savini did like the effect where they blow up the head in this movie, and I
Yeah.
believe he's one of the guys. He's the guy who fires the gun or gets his head blown. One he had to do the effect, so whoever it was, but it's iconic. I think it's right up there with some of the most head blowing up effects out there.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But
Definitely
it's
agree.
disturbing.
Oh yeah, no, it is. I'll go with another one we've actually mentioned, and it's from back then as well. I've mentioned this a lot. We talked about it a lot. We don't have to talk about it a ton here, but that's Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, I still have to go back and watch this movie. I haven't yet.
Yeah, it's brutal, dude. I mean, I talk about it all the time. They're killing a real turtle, and it's shot in a way that's a snuff film. It feels because it's low budget, it feels real the whole time, and I don't think there's ever a point where you settle in and feel comfortable with this movie. Start to finish, you do not feel good.
I agree. I can't agree with how that. I don't think I'm gonna feel good, but I think it's a good reason to make your list.
Yeah.
What's next up on mine that I want to talk about? Oh, here's one. Kevin Kruger recommended. There's actually a review for this here on the channel. It's called Hate Crime. Now, I'm not a big fan of found footage movies. This is a complete found footage of a hate crime being committed against a Jewish family, and you watch like that's the entire movie. It's just like this whole thing being done to an entire family, like them being like basically kidnapped and held against their will and tortured.
Mhm.
And the whole point of the movie is because the director's a Jewish man himself. Like he's trying to show you like what happens. Like he's trying to like make it feel real, and it does.
Yeah.
But it's like I didn't necessarily need to see a movie of that. Like I was like disturbed by it, which is the point. I get that, but like an entire film of that with like almost no meaning other than that to tell you that this is horrible. Like I get it. Like but I guess they're trying to shock people. That's the point.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it, but I feel like with all the films we're talking about, it's it's disturbing, but I feel like the important thing to take away is the film might be disturbing, but the material, I feel like, especially like that, it's real life, like it's based on real life. So you feel uncomfortable with this fictional version of it, but the point of it is to shed light on the fact that this is real. Like this happens, and we should pay attention to this to try, basically to prevent it and stop it from continuing.
Yeah.
But you're right. It kind of exposes you to that side of the world that I think a lot of us, like ignorance is bliss. Like we don't really want to dive into those dark areas, and that's why it's so disturbing.
That's a great point. And yeah, and that's 100% what the point of the director was. And that makes the movie like I gave the movie like a negative review just as a film, but like the whole meaning of the movie and why it was made is like I appreciate that. I get what you're going for. It probably maybe if you I guess converted like some other like neo-Nazi to like see the error of their ways from seeing a movie like this, like maybe then okay, you did your job that you were set out to do. Because a lot of these movies, like I'm sure we're talking about, like they're just actors and directors, and maybe they have a meaning that they're trying to get across to you. It's just sometimes uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I think the goal is to humanize, like the characters and everything. It's like you're making these fictitious characters like feel real, and you're trying to feel what's going on in real life, So that's I guess where you toe the line, right? Like, is this effective filmmaking or just making people uncomfortable? But again, you're getting uncomfortable because it's realistic. That's not the problem. That's the message, and people just don't want to dive into that because it's scary to confront those like real life demons.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. I guess you're right. Ignorance is bliss. It's us having to face the truth of like what's going on. Just hard to watch. Here's one from I like the movie, but it's out there. Well, I think we could talk about that because that's the one that I want to make sure was at Netless.
Yeah, I had one more before we got to this, but we don't even have to talk about it. We can go right into this because the top most disturbing film of all time that I have on here is Serbian film.
Yeah, 100%. This is one, and it's funny. William's right. It's like it's a well-made movie. That's one of the always things that kind of got me with it. It's like
Yeah.
it's got a good score. It's well acted. It's just like the subject is insane.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, again, I get the message, right? The message is that we're desensitizing our war. Like people are just so desensitized, specifically in this one, to sex and to like pornographic material and all that. They're so desensitized that like it's pushing the envelope. But they went and they were like, here's the line where people don't feel that disturbed. We're gonna go to the other side of the freaking world with this, and we're going to make you so uncomfortable that you like want to throw up when you're done. And that's what they did with this film. Again, it's shot well. It's not low budget by any means, but the subject matter in it is, I don't know. I felt there were probably 2 solid weeks that I couldn't get over what I watched.
Yeah, that was tough. Like and it's funny because that's a movie I went into completely blind, so I had no idea what to expect. And yeah, it outdid every expectation, not in a positive way. But you can, I guess, like from a certain horror perspective, appreciate the filmmaking. It's just nothing that I'm going to go back to. One thing I have learned about being here on YouTube and just in general, you meet some people and you realize that like a lot of people like that, like there's a line in horror like where people are willing to cross like exploitation horror films, which is another one I had on my list was necromantic, like basically banging dead bodies and stuff is like it's common in the movie and it's got a point to it. And I'm like, I'm glad that people have these movies they're just not my movies.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's like definitely in particular, it's the horror community where I think there's a couple of lines. There's like the people who like more mainstream stuff, and then there's people who get a little deeper into, I go to a certain point. Serbian film is well beyond that point. I will absolutely never rewatch this. Ever, I wouldn't make anybody watch this. I don't even like to talk about it because it's just like you said, it pushes the envelope to a point where with I had no expectations, did not know what was going to happen. It gets to the point where you're like, well, can't get crazier than this. Can't get crazier than this. And then it does. And then the ending is just like, all right, well, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like it's just like it is absolutely the most disturbing film that I've ever seen. I cannot imagine, and I don't want to be challenged that anything passes it. I'm fine with that staying at number one forever.
Yeah, agreed. I don't want to know what's beyond it.
Yeah, exactly. And this is actually a pretty good point. Like, as far as I think this is just one of those actors, directors being able to separate themselves from the work. Like, Tony Scott, if he's a famous dog lover, he didn't write True Romance. Quentin Tarantino did, so he might just be his job. Like, I gotta shoot the scene. Like, it's got to happen in there, and he knows it's not real. It's not like they're actually really killing animals on these sets. For like, there's obviously times where, like we were talking about with Cannibal Holocaust, where it accidentally happened and it shouldn't have happened, but for the most part, like, for every time, it's just an actor, the acting dog, that they put a fake animal out there. No animals are being harmed. They're not supposed to when they make movies, so he probably understands that.
Yeah, I think that again, it's hard for a lot of like it's hard for me to really accept it, but I think a lot of times it's supposed to really, same thing like we talked about, The Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left. It's supposed to be something that an evil character does to show you just how evil they are. I mean, even in Halloween, Michael Myers kills a dog.
Mhm.
That's just to show you that because I feel like not everyone obviously, but most people love dogs. We've grown up, I know you and I have grown up around dogs forever, absolutely love them. And it's supposed to be one of those things like only the most evil and sadistic kind of human could harm this animal. And that's why they put it in film. It's supposed to be so that certain characters are not redeemable in any way, no matter what they do. I don't like watching it.
Exactly. That's the same thing with me. I don't want to see that because, like, they are capitalizing on what we can imagine that they're doing to the animals. That they know, even if they're not doing it, we're imagining it, and then you picture your animals, your dogs in there, and I don't want to ever see that.
Yeah,
So,
agreed.
Hard Candy. Yeah, I actually haven't seen I've heard of Hard Candy. Haven't seen it though.
No, I haven't either, actually. I'll add it to, well, I don't know. Should I add it to a watch list?
Why not? Let's do the what's this on famous movies? What is the most famous movie speech of all time? What's your favorite movie speech of all time?
So I went with, because, I'm a hockey guy, Miracle.
Oh, that's a good one. And Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell can't go wrong. Hockey can't go wrong. It's when he's in the locker room and he just says, I wrote a couple parts of it down, but says great moments are born from great opportunity, and that's what you have tonight. It's just one game. If we played them 10 times, they might win 9 of them, but not tonight. Tonight is ours. And like it goes on and on, but it's just so like Kurt Russell, first of all, again, I love that man. He is just the best. The speech is incredible. The story is incredible. I went with that one. Being a hockey guy and a Kurt Russell fan, you couldn't go better than that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I actually I was thinking speech or like a monologue. So like, but I think the greatest like monologue that a character's ever given in film was in Paris, Texas, by Harry Dean Stanton. There's a two-way mirror, and he's talking to his I guess his estranged wife. I think they might technically still be married, but the way he's talking to her, like going through their entire life, like, and how she's reacting, it's like heartbreaking, and also like it's beautiful. It's one of the best film scenes in history, in my opinion. It's one of my favorites. I think it carries the movie a lot because it's such a good scene. But if it was an actual speech, like speaking to a crowd, I'm gonna go with Michael Douglas at the end of The American President. I think he gives like one of the greatest presidential speeches of all times. It bothers me that most movie presidents seem to be better at than regular presidents. I mean, you could also go on Independence Day. I would fucking get up there and fly for him.
I almost picked like the first thing that came to my mind from this question was Independence Day, and I was like, I gotta pick something different.
I know it's like almost like it is very cheesy, like, but it's still like, I mean, you got the score going and people are ready, and today we fight for their Independence Day. It's just so good. And Braveheart's a good one. That's always a great one. Mel Gibson will get you going. He gets the crowd going in that for sure.
Yeah, no, I like that one. I do. I feel like randomly I'll just say they can take our land, but they can never take our freedom. I feel like it just, really good one too. There's a lot of great ones. Like, I just went with that one because, again, Kurt Russell and hockey, two of my favorite things.
Yeah, sports movies always have some great speeches in there. That or political movies, they always lead to like great speeches because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get people riled up and ready to go out there and kill someone.
Yeah. But good question. I liked it. It definitely made me think a little bit.
And then the last question, like, I'm glad we got to it, was your favorite comedies asked by Acres of Movies. That for me, obviously a lot of people know mine, but like, what are yours?
So I picked two, a little bit of an older one and a little bit of a newer one. Honorable mention: every Adam Sandler movie from the 90s. I mean, loved all of them. Waterboy, Big Daddy, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. All of them are great. Also, Will Ferrell, like his Talladega Nights, Anchorman, that phase were all great. But the two I feel like I quote the most and really genuinely enjoy. One is 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, that's a good one.
Steve Carell's hilarious. There's so much in that one. And then the other one's a new one. I don't know if you've ever seen it. The Nice Guys.
I have a review for that coming out tomorrow on this channel.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I love that movie. I've loved it since it came out. I didn't know you've seen it.
Dude, I love it so much. And so my brother Cody, he loves it. Me and him quote it. Yes, dude. Yes.
That's a Blu-ray for a giveaway because I have the 4K right there.
Well, I'll take it.
All right. Well, it's right there. I guess I'll take that out of the pile then. I was going to give that away. I'll take that out for you.
I absolutely love that movie. Me and my brother quote it all the time. And it's so funny because we think it is hilarious. And no one else in our family, both of our wives, my parents, we quote things and they're like, you guys are so stupid. That's not funny.
Really? I think that movie's hysterical. I love that movie. Russell Crowe and freaking Ryan Gosling have just great chemistry. I showed it to Faith last week and she thought it was all right. And I was like, I'm like, that's a 9 out of 10 movie. I don't know what you're talking about.
Dude, I love it. So Ryan Gosling is like, their dynamic together is what's so funny. The things they do, like, you're a detective who can't smell. Like,
I know.
Just like things that he quotes all the time. It's so good. So those would be my two. If I went older, 40-Year-Old Virgin. Newer would definitely be The Nice Guys. The Nice Guys might be my favorite of all time right now.
Yeah. Okay. See, I didn't even know that you liked that movie, and I love that movie. I'm like, I've been in the mood to rewatch it since I saw it because it's just so great. Him like accidentally discovering the body is great just because he's lighting up a cigarette. He has no idea that it's right behind him. And like Russell Crowe calls him out on it immediately too. He's like, "Did you just fall?" Like, it's like, no.
Yeah, and he's like, "Why are you wet?" I was interviewing the mermaids.
That makes perfect sense.
Dude, it was just like, that's what we quote. And then the gas mask scene where they're like, we're protesting the air. The gas mask didn't help you.
Gas mask didn't help me. But I had the best scenes, the elevator scene though. They go all the way up and they just see the people. They're just pressing really fast. Their faces don't change. Like, just get out of here.
Dude, it was just so funny. I'm really happy you saw it and you liked it because I was worried that you were not going to because I haven't found anyone else who does. Like, genuinely, me and my brother are the only two people that I know that like it.
Oh my God, I love that movie. I mean, it's Shane Black, and he was the guy who wrote Lethal Weapon, and it feels similar to it. And I love it. Like, he did Kiss Kiss Bang Bang too. Like, he's always got that like dark sense of humor because this is kind of a dark story when you really think about it. I always feel slightly bad for the aunt, like, how. So is my niece dead? Yes, she's dead. Like,
yeah. Well, that's too with the opening scene with the old woman who's like, "Well, when was the last time you saw him?" Probably at the funeral.
And he's looking up like, "Okay,
I'd love to take your case."
Yeah, I love it. Like, he's just guaranteed paycheck for him. Like we're, Russell Crowe's obviously got, he's got more morals. They're a little fucked up, but at least he's got his own like set of morals of things like he just won't do.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. I think that movie, I'm gonna probably rewatch it now because just talking about it, I think it's so funny. So highly recommend anyone who hasn't seen it. The Nice
Oh yeah.
Guys.
The ankle gun
Awesome.
thing. Where's the gun? This takes it. This takes the cake. It's like, yeah.
Oh, it's just awesome, dude.
Uh,
Absolutely loved it.
oh yeah, that's a great one. I'm so glad you like it too.
Yeah. The only other thing I had on here was, didn't someone ask who we think was the best psychopath?
Yes, we do have who are the best movie psychopaths. And
So who
I
do
was
you
gonna
got?
I was gonna say it overlapped from a question before. This is what I was talking about with Christian Bale in American Psycho.
It's funny. I have two people written down. One of them is Christian Bale, American Psycho.
Yep. I mean, the movie's called American Psycho. He plays a great psycho.
Dude, it's so good. I just always think all the scenes where they like are close up on his face and he's sweating and he's got that look. He just always has this look on his face that whole movie that was just, I don't know. It was perfect, dude. He was so good in that role.
I mean, you realize like he actually is like a psycho. All this stuff is like not coming out, and it's like all in his head, and it's like he's got a fucked up head.
Yeah, yeah, no, I like the. I just always go back to the business card one where he's like excited about his cards, and then I think Jared Leto's character hands out his business card, and
God.
he's like sweating looking at it, and his inner monologue is like, "It's so nice, it's perfect." And it's like that little stuff. I'm like, dude, this guy's whacked.
Yeah, he's like it's eggshell with lifted font. It's like most people when they get a business card, they especially from a businessman because they don't really give a shit. They put it in their wallet and they forget about it. They're not going, wow, the lifted font with the bone colored card looks beautiful. I mean, you really did good work here.
Yeah, no, so yeah, he's there. The other one I put was Anthony Hopkins.
That's the other one I had written down too. That's so
Really,
funny.
Hannibal?
Yeah, I read Hannibal Lecter and Buffalo Bill because I feel like Buffalo Bill always gets shortchanged, but he's definitely a psychopath as well.
Yeah, he's really good in that one for sure. I just went with, I mean, it's a classic again, just like American Psycho is, but I just feel like Hannibal, he's so good at calmly being psychotic. Like that's the difference. Christian Bale's he's definitely erratic in that film where he has moments of losing it, where I just feel like Hannibal Lecter is calm all the time.
Yep, exactly. He's the smart, calm guy. Jack Nicholson. I actually had the Joker on my list, and I was letting it be like you could pick any of them because they're all psychopaths. But I was always leaned towards Jack Nicholson from a personal standpoint, and then of course The Shining. He's a man. Is he a psychopath or is he just losing his mind?
Yeah, I think he might be losing his mind. I would argue that even in The Departed, he's a psychopath. He's just kind of like a comical psychopath.
Oh, he's overacting his ass off in that. I love him in that movie. Anthony
Yeah.
Perkins. How do we not forget the guy?
Oh yeah,
I
the one
mean,
and only.
the one and only. And then I also had Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men. I mean, I think this is a pure sociopath and narcissist just through and through.
I did not even think of that one. Yeah, 100%, dude. That one, yeah, agreed. And calm the whole time too.
Yep. And that's the thing. He's always calm. He's always rational. Even when like the craziest, like that's why the car accident scene towards the end is so significant. Like that's where he's like most off his game and you can see it, but he's still able to like figure out the situation and get through it.
Yeah, no, he was definitely a great one too. Agreed, 100%. Can't believe we forgot the actual Psycho.
I know. It's like, you know what? That's just like so on the nose and obvious. It's like you almost overlook it.
Yeah, but
Also wanted to
yeah.
ask you before you get out of here because you didn't text me back. Because I never saw this. What was it? You've been going on a kick lately for the director of Psycho. I'm forgetting what's his name.
Oh, yeah, no. Why can't I think of his name either? Wow,
Jesus Christ.
isn't
I know, isn't that the most obvious thing we're forgetting right here?
it?
Gary Oldman.
Seriously.
We'll also say Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken is a good psycho as well. Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah, that's the one. That's
yeah,
the
you
name.
said. How was The Man Who Knew Too Much? Because I haven't seen that Hitchcock film.
I think I have to rewatch it in a few weeks because I had watched Rear Window and Vertigo like back to back, and then the very next day I went to The Man Who Knew Too Much, and it's the same actor. It's the same. It was very. It just all felt very similar. to the other two, so I think I may have just overdone it in 2 days. It wasn't bad, but it definitely was not. If I was picking of those three, it would be the third best.
That's
Um,
tough. Vertigo and Rear Window are like, almost masterpieces.
yeah, well, I started with Rear Window and loved it, and then I was like, oh, Vertigo, this is next up. Let's see. And I was worried that I was going to kind of overdo it going back to back like that. Absolutely did not. Vertigo was fantastic. Um, so I think I just kind of burnt out with two of his best films and then went to one of his, again, not a bad one. It just to me wasn't on the caliber of those other two. And it may have just been that because they're 2 hours each.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I was 4 hours deep into Hitchcock films, and it's the same exact actor, pretty much playing the same exact character, just in a different place and, slightly different plot. So I think I need in a couple weeks to go back to it to decompress from all the Hitchcock film that I've been in and give it another shot. But not bad. First impressions, not bad. Definitely not better than the other two.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just go into it I'll go into it blind. I know the film, but I've never actually seen that one. One I don't know if you've seen is Rope. That's one of my favorites from him too. Even though that one's very different from the other one, it takes place in just one setting. It's supposed to look like it's one continuous shot, like a play.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's great. I think that one's great because I think it's got something in the movie that they can't say out loud because of the time, but it's so obvious, and I think it adds to it.
Interesting. You said Rope?
Yeah.
All right. I'll have to give it a watch. I don't know why. I just, all of a sudden, it was like I just saw Rear Window and it was like on Netflix and something. And I was like, oh, you know what? I actually have never seen this one. So went in, watched it, and I don't know what it is about it. I just love his filmmaking. Um,
Hitchcock's one of the best.
yeah, I really do. And then I was like, let me see. I haven't seen Vertigo in so long, and you had told me that you love Vertigo so much, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah, that's my favorite of it. And a lot of it checks a lot of my boxes. You see how colorful that movie is. It looks great in 4K.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. But no, it's awesome. Honestly, I used to like live and die on the Psycho Hill. That was like the greatest thing he's ever done. But Vertigo is and Rear Window are up there, dude. Those two, that they're definitely pushing it.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. Psycho is a great one too, and I know David's in there probably like Psycho's still the best. I put Vertigo above Psycho, but I love them both. Is the Nice Guys on 4K? 4K only does include Blu-ray too. Nice Guys actually surprisingly has two 4Ks. It has a Warner Brothers 4K that came out 2 months ago, and then a Second Sight 4K that just came out. The Second Sight 4K is a new scan, whereas the 4K from Warner Brothers is just the Blu-ray upscaled. Both didn't come with a Blu-ray though.
Nice.
So
Interesting.
yeah, so it's weird that the Nice Guys got that.
Yeah, very odd. But I'm gonna have to dip soon. But guys, thank you again for the questions. Again, like we were talking to, we got to correct the Dawn of the Dead score for our OG versus remake. We got to end the poll, do the new OG, and then Great versus 8. That's gonna be our or if we're gonna say call it that or Great or 8. I don't know which one you want to call it, but another new series we're gonna be working on.
Yep, and then of course we're also doing the A24 top 10 A24 films that we're working on too. So we got a lot coming down the pipe, and then we're here every Tuesday at 7:30 a.m.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, John. I appreciate you having me on as always, and love the question, guys. Keep them coming.
Yep, keep them coming. If we didn't answer it this week, we'll get to. I think we got to everything. I have one question I'm going to answer separately, and then we're going to get into the giveaways and everything. So, stick around for like another 20 minutes, guys. We'll talk all about that for next week.
All right.
Well, all right. See you,
talk
Dennis.
To you guys soon.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna get into the giveaways. I'll go over that. Yes, Psycho for me, which does make sense, but I like Vertigo for the obsession and layers. Shadow of a Doubt is a favorite of mine. Shadow of a Doubt is great as well. I haven't seen everyone, but I gotta get into that. I make sure I finish it off. Hitchcock has so many films. I think I've seen all the big ones, but that one. I've seen Lifeboat. That's a great one as well. He's the king of the thrillers, Hitchcock. It's really hard to like debate, the amount that he put out in comparison, like what directors put out today, and the fact that he put that much out and they were all quality films for the most part is nothing to sneeze at. Like Mellow Fellow said, it's absolutely impressive. So as far as the giveaways go, so I'm going to put out posts right after the show for next Tuesday. We're going to do, for the 5,000 subscriber giveaway. We're going to be doing, I'm going to be giving away. So ignore the nice guys because I'm going to give that to Dennis. But everything else in this pile is going to be one stack. We're going to give away like stacks. So like this would be a second stack. This would be the 50th anniversary 4K Steelbook for Jaws. This would be a third stack, and this would, well, not that one. This would be a fourth stack as far as like the movie. So those 4 stacks we'll be giving away to anyone who wants to enter into them. So we'll have 2 separate posts that will say, do you want to be into the 5,000 subscriber giveaway for the Jaws 4K Steelbook, or do you want to be entered into the Blu-ray stacks giveaway? And it will spin the wheel 4 times. The first name, they get their choice. The second name gets their choice, and then so on and so forth till the 4th one's left. And then obviously you won't have a choice. But then I will be mailing the winners of those giveaways the following week, just because it takes me a while to get to the post office and everything. I want to make sure I get all the addresses right before I mail them out. So they won't get mailed out until like about July 8th. But we will be giving all this away for 5,000 subscribers. And we're also going to have our regular, actually, this isn't a giveaway for 5,000 subscribers right here, I believe. This is. There's also one more stack in here that we have to go through for our channel. This is another stack that we're giving away. But I'll have all pictures up on here. There's a stack that is for, this stack right here is for our channel members giveaway. So all these are 4K Blu-rays except for the Ring. These are for channel members on the producers or higher. So that will also be done next Tuesday. So there's going to be a lot of giveaways. We'll have 5 wheel spins for 5,000 subscribers, the channel members, and then we'll also have our usual digital code giveaway, which we'll get into right now. So let's spin this wheel and see who is going to win this week's digital code giveaway. Just keep an eye on those posts and just make sure that if you want to enter those giveaways, you do comment. I'll leave it up there, obviously, until next Tuesday morning, and then we'll obviously get rid of that. But let's spin the magic wheel and see who this week's winners are. Let's see. Spinning away. So yeah, because I'm just going to follow that. So, and also obviously channel members, like if you are a channel member at all, your name will be included in every giveaway unless you don't want it to. So just let me know. Like, even if you can do whatever you want to do with these. These will be your movies. You can give them away to other people if you like, as long as we're giving stuff away to people. That's all that matters. It looks like it's going to be Rogue One. Rogue One 677. Congratulations, buddy. Rogue One is also a channel member, so thank you. We're going to remove you for the second giveaway. Spin this bad boy again. And Rogue One actually asked me a question, so we'll actually answer that. That's the last question we'll be talking about today. Well, recently saw Tommy Boy for the first time. Loved it. It even does borrow heavily from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Yeah, it takes a lot from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and I don't think it's as good as Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but how could it be? Wow, it's going to be John Doe Juggalo. Look at that. It's either that or him or Rico Gomez. That's close. John Doe Juggalo. Congratulations. Also a channel producer, so that's cool. Not as many people entering the digital code giveaway, and I get it. There's not as many codes, but here I'll flash them up on the screen so you guys see what's available. Here's 1. That's one of them. Here's 2. And here's 3. So, keep your eyes out if you guys won the digital code giveaway or if you won the question of the week. Actually, last week's question of the week winner was Mellow Fellow, so his question actually got about comedies on 4K was what everybody seemed to like most from last week, which is awesome. So congratulations, Mellow Fellow. You asked us the question of the week last week. This week's questions of the week, which I'll put a poll out for tomorrow, which also obviously you guys can vote on as well. I believe we'll go with Haunted Pillowcase in the top 10 most disturbing films of all time. And we'll go with Deranged Psychopath and who we think the best psychopaths in film are of all time. And then obviously we'll have to go with we'll go with Kevin Kruger's top 10 movies you should go into blind. So those will be the 3 questions of the week for next week. I'll put that poll out tomorrow, but again, I'll put the polls out for the Jaws 50th and the 5,000 subscribers today later on. So that's all the busy work. I mean, we got to talk about it here on the live show to make sure that everyone knows what's going on. So keep your eye out on the posts. I mean, I know that's not as fun as when we're talking movies with Dennis and all, but we got to make sure you guys are aware of everything. I know it might not be as fun or anything like that, but hey, it's important. And for everyone, this is a celebration next week. That's the whole thing, is that we've hit 5,000 subscribers and we keep going up. I really want to thank all you guys so much. So Rogue One asked me about some Blu-rays, like a comedy Blu-rays from the 2000s and on films that I think are really good. No 4Ks, but I did want to just point out a 4K I thought that was pretty cool from last year, just because I liked what they did. That was Mean Girls on 4K. Great comedy of the 2000s. And they did a good job with that. But, I'm just going to MacGruber, I think MacGruber is a great comedy from the 2000s that just gets completely overlooked. Last night I watched another one of my favorite comedies from the 2000s, which is a spoof movie, and that's Dewey Cox, Walk Hard. Dewey Cox, love that movie. I've always enjoyed that one. I never realized how big of a budget that movie had. Unfortunately, it flopped just so hard. It didn't deserve to either. It just unfortunately did not do that well, but I don't know why either, because that was like the perfect time for that too. I was only like 2 years after Ray and like a year after Walk the Line. It took so much from both of those movies, and John C. Reilly was so great. There's so many lines in that movie that I still quote, but MacGruber's another one of those movies. I'm gonna shoot. There's so many movies. Just tell me when you want to work. There's just so much stuff in MacGruber that I still laugh at, and it shouldn't have been overlooked. Yeah, it fits into that. Like if you're into like really stupid comedies like I am, you'll appreciate MacGruber a little bit more. Another one just kind of reminds me of like when I was in high school, not in the sense that I was trying to get laid all the time, but Easy A. I just always thought this movie could stop playing with the Scarlet Letter. I've always loved Emma Stone. I think I've said it a couple of times, like she's my favorite actress working today. I think she's so versatile as an actress. She can do it all. She's been great since Superbad. She never misses. There's a reason why she's won the Academy Award for Best Actress, or at least won 2 Academy Awards. I think they were both for Best Actress. Even though the one she's won for, I haven't loved those movies. I think her better performance. Actually, she won for Birdman. I loved her in Birdman. She didn't win for the first Yorgos Lanthimos movie she was in, The Favorite, but she did win for Poor Things, and she was great in Poor Things. She really goes for it. Not one of my favorite Yorgos Lanthimos movies though. But Easy A is really funny, and that's got a good Blu-ray as well. Dewey Cox is one of my favorite comedies. You could take you will leave my monkey. Dewey Cox is so great. Honey, what are you talking about? I have a #1 hit right now. There's just so many on-the-nose, stupid jokes in Dewey Cox, but it works so well. You never once paid for drugs. Not once. Dude, you slept with my wife. Dude, you slept with me, and I've had mixed feelings about that for 10 years. But the Siamese cat, guys, it represents something. So that's it. Unless you were going to fucking learn the trombone, then yeah. There's just so much in Dewey Cox that, I mean, it's great. There's so much. It's a raunchy comedy from 2007 that I could always recommend. And then these two, the reason why I have never upgraded the 4K is because I have the Blu-rays, and they're really good. And I remember when these were coming out, 21 and 22 Jump Street, I'm like, come on, just complete and utter cash grab. There's no way these movies are going to be funny. And then they did. They did turn out to be pretty damn funny. I really did like that. Thought the movies just were surprisingly good. Like they could have made a 23 Jump Street, even though at the end of 22 Jump Street, they're going through all the sequel possibilities. But Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill had great chemistry. For something that's just trying to be a remake of a TV show that was popular in the 80s, and not really like the most popular 80s show either. Like it's not like it was a hit, but not like something that's like stood the test of time. To try and sell us on that, it worked. It also came out just at the perfect time. And another one of the comedies from the 2010s that always gets overlooked, also featuring Tim Meadows, is Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping. He's in Dewey Cox as well. Tim Meadows has always been one of those underrated comedians, comes from Saturday Night Live. Obviously, I don't think he could lead a movie, but he's very good in a supporting role. Like in this one, he's like the manager, essentially. He was in Tony, and Tony. He was the 4th Tony who got fired. But that movie has so many classic moments as well, like Kinda For Real. Just so many great classic comedies. Rogue One. Wow, 3rd week I've won the damn bro. Yeah, you're on a good run, buddy. What can I say? I mean, also the digital code giveaway, not as popular as it used to be. I guess maybe the digital codes aren't. Then, of course, the last one, I just want to talk about the other guys. This Blu-ray I've had for a long, long time. One of the first Blu-rays me and my wife ever watched together, just because we both loved the other guys. In a way, that's my favorite Will Ferrell movie. It's not better than Anchorman or anything like that, but I just think him and Mark Wahlberg have. If there's a movie that I probably quote more in my day-to-day life, I'd be surprised on the other guys. That one just. Everything in it. Michael Keaton's phenomenal. It just works as a comedy from the 2010s. Will Ferrell was at the top of his game then. So that was a great question, Rogue One. I just wanted to point that out. And obviously you won the giveaway. And like I said earlier, everything we talked about, the giveaway for the 50th, for the 5,000 subscriber, for the Steelbook, and the for those movies that we just showed the stacks. Those polls will be going out now. You'll have a week to enter, and then your names will be put on Magic Wheels next week. So please make sure you enter. And then again, physical media giveaway. And then coming up here on the channel this week for the rest of the week, we got a Nice Guys 4K Blu-ray review tomorrow. We also on Friday, me and David, aka Shamrock Balls, are going to have our full breakdown of Tombstone. So we really hope you guys check that one out. I'm trying to get out 2 more 4K reviews. Probably going to try and get The Lost World out and Sorcerer on 4K. Also have Thunderbolt, but that's going to have to probably wait till next week. So we got a lot coming out as far here on the channel as far as 4K reviews. It's just not enough time to get them all out. I got Dark City. Want to do a review for that. That'll probably be out next week. So got a lot coming. Also at Brazil. Don't know when that's going to be coming. But Do the Right Thing slipcover I made as well as I'm looking. Night keeps the inside of the div. Yeah, no, I mean that's going right on. Right after I do this, I'm going through the entire box, Mellow Fellow, and I'm swapping out stuff for what you gave me. Again, I really appreciate that. Please make sure you guys are subscribed to Mellow Fellow's YouTube channel. Again, he does phenomenal work. I can speak very highly right now of the paper stock. Eventually, Dennis, I'm sure because Dennis loves this kind of stuff, he's going to want to see it in person, and maybe me and him can do a video on them all together and show you like what I thought was better and everything like that. So thank you so much for that. Really appreciate the gift. And thank you guys all for being here with us. We hope you guys enjoy the show every Tuesday at 7:30. This is the thing. I'll put a post out for questions. Stay subscribed, like, share, you know, the whole spiel that you got to do at the end of a YouTube video. Thank you guys all just so much for being here. I appreciate it. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day.